They say the heart knows what the eyes refuse to see. I thought I was imagining things, that I was being paranoid. But the warnings were there, quiet whispers, subtle glances, sudden silences. And when I ignored them, I set myself up for a truth that nearly broke me. Because that night proved me right. I always believed my marriage was built on trust. After 8 years together, my husband, Daniel, and I had settled into a routine that felt safe. Maybe too safe. At first, it was little things. The way he started keeping his phone face down. The late night, work calls that ended with him sounding strangely cheerful. The scent of a perfume that wasn't mine lingering faintly on his jacket. I told myself stories to explain it away. He was stressed. He was tired. Maybe I was overthinking it. Friends told me not to overreact. Men get distracted sometimes, one said. Don't go looking for problems, another advised. And maybe they were right. I wanted them to be right. So I ignored it. I ignored the way his smile no longer reached his eyes. I ignored how our conversations grew shorter, more mechanical. I ignored the loneliness that was quietly building inside me. I told myself love meant patience, that it meant waiting for him to come back to me. But ignoring doesn't make the signs disappear. It only makes them louder. One evening, while folding laundry, I found a hotel key card in the pocket of his trousers. I held it in my hand for what felt like hours, my heart thudding against my ribs. When I asked him about it, he laughed. Oh, that? Just a conference meeting. The company booked us rooms, but I didn't even stay the night. He said it so casually, so convincingly, that for a moment I believed him. But something in me knew better. Still, I pushed it away. Because the thought of being right terrified me. Weeks passed, and the gap between us widened. He came home later and later. Dinners turned cold, waiting on the table. When I tried to touch him, he flinched, as though my hands were strangers. At night, I would lie awake, listening to him breathe beside me. And I wondered, was he dreaming of me? Or someone else? The signs were screaming. But I told myself I was imagining it. Because admitting the truth would mean admitting that the life I built was crumbling. I remembered how he used to be. Sunday mornings when he would wake me up with coffee. Just the way I liked it. 2 sugars, no cream. The way he used to send me texts in the middle of the day. Silly little jokes that made me laugh. The road trips where he would sing off-key just to make me giggle. Those memories became my shield. Whenever doubt crept in, I used them to fight it off. But memories are fragile shields. They don't protect you forever. One afternoon, over coffee, I confided in my closest friend, Sarah. She looked me in the eye and said, "You already know the truth. You're just afraid to face it." Her words stung. I laughed it off, shaking my head. "No, you're wrong. Daniel would never do that." But my voice cracked as I said it. Deep down, I knew she was right. Then came that night. Daniel said he had another late meeting. His tie was already loosened, his cologne freshly applied. He kissed me quickly, avoiding my gaze, and left. For the first time, I didn't stay home. Instead, I followed. My heart pounded as I drove a few cars behind him. I told myself I was being ridiculous, that I'd find him at some office building, sipping coffee with coworkers. But then he pulled into the parking lot of a dimly lit restaurant on the edge of town. I watched as a woman, tall, elegant, with flowing dark hair, stepped out of her car. He smiled in a way he hadn't smiled at me in months. And when he reached for her hand, my world shattered. I sat frozen in my car, my fingers gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. Part of me wanted to drive away, to pretend I hadn't seen it. But another part of me, the part that had been ignored, silenced, pushed aside, rose up. I couldn't look away. I couldn't keep pretending. I walked into that restaurant, my legs trembling but my spine straight. The hostess smiled at me, asked if I had a reservation. I ignored her and scanned the room. And then I saw him, sitting across from her, leaning in close, his hand resting over hers. He laughed, that warm, easy laugh that used to belong to me. When he saw me, his face drained of color. The woman's hand slipped from his instantly. The table between them might as well have been a wall of shame. "Daniel," I said, my voice shaking. I ignored the warnings. But now I see the truth. The silence that followed was louder than any argument we'd ever had. He stammered, reaching for excuses. "She's just a colleague. We were just talking." But the look in his eyes betrayed him. I had my answer. The woman stood, embarrassed, murmuring something about leaving. She hurried past me, avoiding my eyes. And suddenly it was just Daniel and me, two strangers sitting in the ruins of what used to be love. I walked out before he could say another word. My chest felt hollow, my steps heavy, but I knew I couldn't stay another second. That night changed everything. When I got home, I packed a bag. He came later, called my name, tried to explain. His voice cracked as he said, "It meant nothing. I swear. I love you." But I had ignored the signs for too long. And now, facing the truth, I couldn't go back to pretending. The hardest part wasn't losing him. It was losing the illusion of who I thought he was. The man I fell in love with was gone long before I walked into that restaurant. I just hadn't wanted to see it. In the quiet of my new apartment, I sat by the window and thought about all the times I had silenced my instincts. All the times I had chosen comfort over truth. All the times I told myself love meant turning a blind eye. But love isn't blind. Love sees. Love feels. Love knows. The days were heavy at first. I cried until I was empty. I replayed that night over and over, torturing myself with every detail. But slowly, something shifted. I realized I wasn't broken. I was free. I started painting again, something I had abandoned years ago. I joined a book club, made new friends, even laughed without feeling guilty. Each small step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself I had lost in the shadows of denial. Daniel called for weeks. He begged me to come home. He promised to change, but promises mean nothing when trust is gone. And no matter how much he pleaded, I couldn't erase the image of him holding another woman's hand. Months passed. The pain didn't disappear, but it became lighter to carry. I learned to enjoy my own company. I learned that solitude isn't loneliness, it's freedom. I traveled to places I had always wanted to see, stood on cliffs overlooking the sea, felt the wind in my hair, and for the first time in years I felt alive. Looking back now, I don't hate Daniel. I don't even hate what happened. Because that night, when the truth stood before me, undeniable, it didn't destroy me. It set me free. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this. Trust yourself. Trust the signs. Because the truth will always find its way out, whether you're ready for it or not.